Well, welcome back to another podcast here on the Broadwater. We have our second guest, Mr. Nic Jones. Thank you for being here, Nic.
Yeah, stoked to come along.
Yeah, we've known Nic for a long time now. He's a good friend of ours, but today he's going to be interviewed as the freshly retired pro surfer that he was on the longboarding with the WSL. So we thought we'd have a good chat with him about what it's like being a professional athlete, and the fitness regimes, the health regimes, everything that goes with it, and some cool stories. Also, so I know we've got a lot of questions, and
definitely.
Hopefully I got a lot of answers. So
yeah, well, let's see. We're here again, the three Broadwater boys, and thanks again for all the support that's been going on. We did our 80-kilometer walk last weekend, and the two boys finished. I only got 50 Ks in, and I buckled.
Yeah.
But
shout out to everyone that donated too.
Yep.
So it was 80 kilometres for $80,000 raised. So solid effort for everyone that donated to a good cause for Alawan. So yeah, I'm sure all that money will get used wisely. So thanks heaps.
It was a great experience to test ourselves mentally. But it's just one of those things that we wanted to let you know that we're going to keep doing things like that along the way, push ourselves mentally, physically, and it was good to get that one on the books.
Yeah, definitely
Really
for a good
good.
cause.
100%. All right, well, let's get straight into it. Chris or Sam, fire away. Let's see what Nic's got for us.
Yeah, well, I guess
yeah, shoot.
let's start from the start. Like, when you grew up, what made you want to be a pro surfer, and was it something that you always thought you wanted to do?
Yeah, well, growing up on the Sunshine Coast, my father was a surfer, same with my grandfather. And so I pretty much grew up on the beach and watching surf movies every day, like just the same surf movies every single day. I just had this passion, this drive that just I always wanted to be in the ocean. It wasn't just surfing. I sailed, I work on boats. It's just everything about being in the ocean, the fresh water.
You're a seaman.
Yeah, man. Through and through.
I get it though. Something about the water. Big body
Yeah,
of
the
water.
freedom of it.
Mm.
And it's sort of sitting in Mother Nature and the element of just like,
Yeah.
you're not actually in control, but you somewhat are.
At the
And
mercy of the gods.
Using the power.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, getting into it initially, it was through my father. He'd just take me surfing and spend days at the beach, the weekends at the beach. And then got into competing and whatnot, probably when I was like 8 years old, I think, just in local board riding events. And had a great group of friends at school that also surfed, and we all sort of hung out together, would surf on weekends, compete in board rider events together, and it sort of just grew from there. And there's the pathways onto with now the World Surf League and everything. I was just able to follow from a junior all the way up.
Interesting.
Mm.
It's pretty crazy.
You said like you were inspired by watching a lot of the surf movies. Was it accurately depicted in the movies? Because for most people, that's all we know is what we see in the movies.
I'd say the surf movies I'd watch aren't say like movies that you see, Hollywood movies or anything like that. It's more just footage of guys surfing put to music, and
Right.
I just love to watch their styles and try recreate what they were doing. I'd watch someone surfing at Noosa, and I'd then go surf Noosa and try do the same nose riding or the same turns, and
Nice.
that's something that you take in a lot and you learn a lot from watching others.
Yeah.
And that's probably all the time I watch surf movies and try to recreate it made me the surfer that I was.
I guess that's a good tip for anyone that is starting out and surfing and wants to go pro, is watching footage of previous surfers and
Yeah.
getting
Yep.
a scope on their techniques and how you use that to push into your skill set. I think is really
Because you
impressive.
watch it with a different filter. As
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
you're looking
Big
at where
time.
they're putting their feet, where they're putting their body.
And with modern age technology and everything, and we use it a lot when I train at the High Performance Centre, which is Surfing Australia's HPC. We'd actually dub footage of us doing a certain manoeuvre or a turn with footage of the top pro surfer guys
So
that have
overlay
the
it.
perfect technique, and would overlay it and all have it next to one another.
Wow.
And then you can actually watch and see where your body's moving or how they're positioning their surfboard differently, and really train yourself in that sense. So having the footage and watching other people is great and amazing, but having that footage of yourself as well, if you're really wanting to take it to that next level,
Yeah.
having footage of yourself to be able to compare it, that's how you get there.
That's like any sport, public speaking, film it. watch yourself.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, what gets measured gets improved.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, back over here. So you've obviously been lucky enough to be able to travel the world doing something you love, and that's no mean feat. Like, I think we all wish that we were that good at something that it could take us to travel the world. So good on you. That's awesome. How are the memories? Obviously, looking back at all of the people you would have met, the cool trips you've been on, all the countries you've been to. How many different countries have you been to on the tour?
I've lost count.
You've lost count.
I've lost count. I've been to so many.
Yeah.
And it's not probably until the last, I'd say 3 years on tour, that I didn't appreciate how lucky I was to be traveling and surfing and experiencing all these different cultures around the world. And surfing is such a great sport. It takes you to so many places where you just wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Like I've been to this one event that was in Papua New Guinea, and it was in the heart of Papua New Guinea, not just like you fly into a major city or something. We flew into the city, caught a tiny plane somewhere else, got in a caged van, driven for 3 hours, and then had to stay in tents for 10 days.
Wow.
But in those 10 days, all the locals would come down. There was thousands of them that would come and watch us surf.
Yeah.
What were they like?
I don't get to hang out with them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But all the ones I met, super nice. We're playing volleyball with the the security guards and whatever, and it's always pretty good vibes at surfing events.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Getting that exposure at such a young age, it just broadened your...
Yeah, it's broadened my mind, and yeah, it sort of gives you the experiences that you wouldn't get just staying in one country.
100%. Yeah.
Just going to university or doing something that's just the natural path. It broadens your mind a lot when you travel.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
What's your favourite country that you've been to?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite country, probably the best surfing trip I've had was probably to Spain last year. Spain and Portugal sort of combined. But
whereabouts in Spain did you go?
Well, we spent a bit of time in Madrid when we first got in there because I just wanted to experience Spain.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Galicia province, which is sort of northwest Spain.
North? Yeah, okay.
We had the event there, and it was just an amazing scenery, such a great setup of an event, and so many locals turned on to come watch us. It was just packed. The beach was packed. There was bars set up everywhere, and it was just incredible vibes there. Yeah. I did terrible in the event, unfortunately, but it was still just such an amazing time, and the scenery over there was just unreal.
Yeah,
and
Spain is beautiful.
Yeah, and the culture there. They don't even have dinner till midnight, that kind of stuff. And so traveling there, competing, and having to live in that culture, you sort of have to change so much of yourself to adapt, but still compete at the highest level.
Yeah.
How did that process go for that competition specifically? Say you didn't do as well as you thought. Is it because there was so many variable factors that you just couldn't dial it in, or?
Possibly. Sometimes surfing is a pretty rough sport. You have 30 minutes to go out and show everything you have, and sometimes
the waves just don't
come, or the waves come to the other guy, and the other guy gets, I wouldn't say lucky, but it's his day, it's not my day, and a lot of the time that happens. It is a rough sport in that manner, but there's some guys that can make it happen a lot more than others, and I'm luckily enough, I'm normally one of those guys that can make it happen, but just not over there that time.
Yeah. I think it's one of those crazy things, like when your career starts taking off in a professional sense. Like, how did you go with, keeping your skill set up and your mindset up when you got to those levels where you'd go to all these different countries and you're exposed to all the hype and everything like that? Was there another shift in mindset, or did you have to challenge your skills more and stay more focused because of all the additional noise?
Definitely, you can definitely get carried away on tour. You can get trapped in the party scene, or just just not focused because you are traveling and you're just trying to take in too much. So there's sort of a happy medium you have to find, because for a few years as well, I did travel and just focus on surfing and nothing else, and I wouldn't experience the cultures of the places I go to, and it gets pretty draining. That's for sure. And so it's sort of to then do well, you have to find this happy medium where you're having fun, but you're still focused.
Yeah.
And each person's different in that regard. You know, some guys will do better just because they're relaxed, and some guys need to be 100% focused and can't relax, because as soon as they relax, they fall off the wagon. So yeah, it comes down to the individual in that regard for that.
So you found that happy medium between enjoying it, and having that focus.
Yeah, for me, I'm one of those guys that needs to be more relaxed.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't do well when I'm extremely focused and set on a task. But surfing against the best in the world, you need that confidence that being relaxed gives you, or at least myself, I needed that confidence that just being relaxed and it's not just not having any worries, just going out there and just knowing that my talent will take me to the next level.
So you got to enjoy it still.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you take it too seriously, you probably wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
You probably lose all passion and motivation when you take it too seriously.
Exactly. And coming away from a surfing event, there's only one guy that comes away happy. Of the 32 on tour, there's only one person that can stand on the top of that podium at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so if you are taking it super seriously and you're coming second, it can be pretty rough still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's the sort of vibes and culture with the tours that you go? You got people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Fly in, compete with each other. Do you hang out socially and
Definitely.
a bit of a mix?
I've got friends from all corners of the globe now because of surfing, because of the tour. The longboarding guys especially, it's like a big family wherever you travel, because
That's awesome.
you know them, you know their families. If I'm going and competing in their local towns, I'll go meet their families and hang out with their friends, and go surfing with their people.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so and vice versa when they come here. I have people come and stay at my house, so they don't have to rent somewhere. And I've made so many great friends through the tour. And that is another thing. It's great.
It becomes a second family.
It does, yeah. And even now that I've retired, I still have friends from surfing that I can go hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What do you think would be some tips for someone that would be up and coming and believes they have the ability to go pro? What would be some tips for them to take them to the next level of their career, wherever they are?
I think in this day and age, it's definitely getting in front of cameras, putting everything you have out there, because a lot of the time it's the sponsors that will take you to that next level, the funding behind you, just to be able to get to the events, to be able to do more events. And this day and age with social media and whatnot, you need to be on the face of that.
So getting attention and getting noticed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Putting your skills out there, showing the world what you've got, and just having the courage to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
And just working hard to do it, but do it with a smile on your face is probably the best tip I can do. Yeah, give it your best, but make sure you're smiling.
Make sure, you enjoy the journey.
Remember what you're there to do. Yeah, which is surfing. It's at the end of the day, it's not like, say, tennis or golf, where you're not going to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
But it's a great sport that's going to make you travel the world and meet people. And it's like, it's going to be a lot of fun. So just remember, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the training, nutrition type?
That's exactly right.
Type routine.
Yep. I was training pretty heavily with a guy on the Sunshine Coast, Tim Just.
Yeah.
And he now trains my little brother with my younger brother's a Porsche race car driver. He's won the GT3 Cup last year, the Formula 3 the year before that.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome that Tim's now taken on Harry.
Yeah.
But we would train. I'd train with him at the gym 3 days a week. I would surf at least once every day as well.
Yep.
As far as nutrition side of it all, it was actually eating enough to put on the weight and keep my muscle, because I'm just a naturally pretty lean guy, especially when I'm surfing every day and working out every day. I'd go to skin and bone.
People that don't surf, I'm not a surfer, but I've had to paddle around. Like, people that don't surf, you don't realise how much energy it takes.
It's tough, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the muscles
Especially
that you're not
longboards.
used to using
Like,
when you're surfing. It's like,
When you get caught in that white
they're all
water,
day.
you're just
Working.
like, no, just let me go.
I could take the fittest guys out surfing,
Yeah.
and they'll be wrecked by the time they get out the first time. It's a different kind of fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
You call it surf fit.
Yeah. And when you're training and stuff for surfing, obviously, do you just stick to longboards? You do shortboards? You do like all types?
I do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I competed on everything.
And do you think that helps in your competition, knowing that like you've had the skills and all different types of boards and like types of waves to do what you want to do? Like, does it give you more confidence on the longboard?
It not so much gives me more confidence on a longboard. It just gives me more confidence, say when I'm producing boards with my shapers or something, that I know I can just get on pretty much anything and surf it.
Yeah.
And because I've surfed such a variety of boards, I've been able to take in quite a few concepts from, say my shortboarding and how the rockers work and how the board shape works, and implement that into my longboarding.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Even creating good shortboards as well from, taking some of the more traditional designs that longboarders have to create some funner shortboards to ride.
Yeah. And I'm a complete novice when it comes to like the different shapes and the lengths and et cetera, et cetera. What goes into a good longboard? Like when you're designing your boards, like you just said, like what is actually like, what defines, that's a good one versus that's an average board? Or was it just personal preference kind of thing?
It's personal preference. It changes day to day. I'd go to an event with 3 to 4 surfboards.
Okay.
Each one different.
So it compares, like it also
does the
depends
color
on the
does the
conditions.
color make a
Exactly.
difference?
Yeah. So is there no regulation in a comp where like you all have to be using the same type of board? You can
No, they've had a few events in the past where it's been what's called a single design.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome, those events, where all the guys are on the exact same kind of board.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly the same shape.
Yeah. So is there advantages to, like, if you have a different board to the guy you're competing against?
Yeah, big time. And so that's why,
Interesting.
coming in, you're looking at the waves, you're looking at where you're traveling to.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you're designing boards to suit those kind of conditions.
Yeah, right.
And when you get a sweet board, sometimes you can get a lot of great boards and you'll get this one that's always special.
Yeah.
And being able to have one of those boards under your feet is what gives you the confidence to take it up and
for sure.
win events.
How many boards do you reckon you go through in a season?
I've been through, some years I've only been through 6. Other years I've been through probably 20.
Wow.
So it comes down to...
Is that just because you need all those different designs, or is that because you're like breaking them while you're surfing, or a bit of both?
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The year I went through 20, I was breaking a lot.
Damn.
Yeah.
Those big waves or?
Big waves, trying different technologies and surfboards like epoxies and all this kind of stuff, and just trying new maneuvers as well. Pushing boundaries, and can take a toll on a surfboard as well as your body.
Yeah.
So when you're learning a new trick, like how long would you typically spend on it?
You're always spending time, mate. Even tricks that I've been doing since I was 16, I still won't land every single one nowadays. It just, sometimes you're with it and sometimes you're not. It's like a ratio. It's just your ratio gets better and better through time.
Yeah.
There's no way I could give a specific time on any maneuver.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For sure.
It goes to show like you do have to enjoy it, because the amount of time and thought you're dedicating to it, like it becomes you.
Yeah, but it is such an enjoyable sport. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way I got into it to compete.
It's a different world, isn't it?
It's one of those sports you get in and it actually becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the competing side of it is just a bit of fun. I mean, I'm a pretty competitive guy, so there's no way I was never gonna.
It was natural.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You were going to
as
go
soon as
down
there's a
that path.
competition in anything, I'm there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So good.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not why I got into the sport. I just got there because I, love to be at the beach and love to be riding waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any crazy experiences out in the water? Any shark encounters?
Yep. Plenty. Yeah, I've had a few big sharks swim underneath.
Mm.
That
Can be very daunting.
How does the shrinker go after that?
Oh, mate. Yeah, you're puckering. Yeah, I've paddled out. Probably the biggest one I had was New South Wales North Coast. Paddling at a place called Hastings Point. It's a beautiful day, clear water. The waves were awesome, and my dad paddled out first, so he was actually further out than me. I'm paddling out, looking at this wave, and can see a big shadow on the wave. Automatically, I'm just in my head enjoying the day. I'm like, oh, there's even dolphins out here. This is brilliant. And sort of swimming, and we're going to come together at this point. And And as it gets closer and closer, I look at it and just go, that's not moving like a dolphin.
Yeah.
And the water's so clear, I can see through it. I can see the sort of the stripes and the shape of it, and it's like just this big tiger shark. I reckon its head was probably a bit over a foot wide.
Yeah.
And I watched it swim under one side of my surfboard, and I was sitting right up tall. It's probably shitting myself.
Yeah.
And then just watched it swim out the other side and swim off down the beach. And I was just sort of stunned for a second, just couldn't take my eyes off it. And then automatically I just paddled out to go tell everyone else in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I get to my dad, I sit right next to him because I know I can paddle faster than him. And then I saw a really big shark. I think we should go in. And he goes, oh, did it swim off? I went, yeah, of course it swam off, but it might come back. He goes, oh, no, we'll be right.
Really?
So we stayed out for another hour.
Oh,
No way, man.
God.
I wouldn't go back there for a month.
Water to get out of it.
Yeah, but I've had experiences where I've been the only guy out, training each day. There's a few sharks on the Sunshine Coast that if you surf every day, you know about them.
Yeah, okay.
And there's this one at Watala that sort of tracks between the reef offshore and the beach.
What kind of shark?
It's a tiger shark as well.
Tiger shark as well.
And this one day I was out surfing, and I was the only one out, sort of sunset, sitting in a rip, and I see it swim through the wave in front of me, and I've just turned around, started paddling straight into the beach, not even realised that this wave is standing up, and the wave slams straight on top of me because I'm just trying to get away from where this shark is.
Yeah.
And it smashes me around, knocks me off the board. I'm getting thrown around underneath.
No.
And at this time, I'm underneath the water sitting, sort of imagining the shark's about to come and hit me at the same time. So I'm bracing for it underneath the water until I come up and I can just get on my surfboard and catch the next whitewash and straight to the beach.
Yeah.
And my trainer, Tim, was sitting on the beach, and he's like,
What are you doing?
what the hell was that? It's like, mate, didn't you see that shark?
He's like, that's the worst thing you can do if you see a shark.
Yeah.
What's
But they're
the,
just like competing against a shark in water. You got no chance.
no chance.
No
You're in their
chance.
environment.
Yeah.
Like we're such a
Yeah.
we're such a diverse apex predator, and then you put us in water, we're just like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much you can do sometimes.
Just
but
buoyant food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit.
yeah.
What's the biggest wave you've ever surfed?
Oh, big enough to scare the heck out of me,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Longboard or shortboard? It was like-
Shortboard.
Yep.
Yeah. I've surfed big waves on my longboards too. But probably the biggest wave was on my shortboard, and it was down in Newcastle. It was breaking third reef at Merriweather. It was just this massive swell rolling through. When the big waves would break, the set waves would break, you could feel it on the beach as they'd land.
Just the crack.
That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And I was bottom turning on these waves, and as I'm looking up to see where the lip is, I'd have to sort of bend my back and look up even more. And yeah, I
So how many
surfed about
feet
an
are you
hour.
talking?
This is probably, a surface turn we measure from the back of the wave, and we're calling it about 15 foot.
Yeah, nice.
Holy.
That's big.
Yeah,
That's very big.
I've never seen it get that big. Here
So
in
are you
Queensland.
are you just super present during that time? Like, there's just no time to think about anything else.
Yep. You're thinking about, you're watching the horizon,
Yeah.
because you're just
dialed
sitting
in.
there terrified the whole time, pretty
Yeah.
much. There's some guys that love it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
one of
can
those
see-
guys,
I can see why.
unfortunately.
It'd be addictive.
Yeah, you can get thrown around big time. But that day, I got a big hold down. I had one of those big ones land on top of me, shake me around. I was just bear hugging my board. So I was like, my board floats. It'll come up. I'm going to be on the board when it comes up.
Yeah.
And as I can feel myself start to rise up again, the next wave must have broken over where I was.
Oh.
And I could just feel the rush push me back down further.
No.
Luckily, that one settled a lot quicker, and I sort of popped up to the surface, but my vision's all blurry
Holy
and dizzy, and yeah, so it's pretty scary. No jet skis out in the water or anything either. So if I was off, or if my leg rope snapped and I was down, that would have been the end of me. But
Yeah.
yeah, luckily I got away with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Walk away with a bit more appreciation of life.
yeah, or just know not to do that again. Probably.
What sort of speeds do you think you'd hit on those sort of waves?
Definitely, probably like 50k an hour.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like much,
No,
but
it's hooking.
when you're
That's
skimming over the top of water,
That
it's
is
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Mm.
To go that fast on a jet ski, like you feel
No.
like you're going quick.
Yeah.
At that speed.
Yeah,
Even a go-kart.
Yeah.
even a go-kart.
How long can you hold your breath? Because like you're talking about you getting held under from waves. That's a scary thing for a lot of people.
And getting held under by waves is violent.
It's different.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it knocks all the air out of you as it does it. So if you breathe out or someone hits you in the chest,
Yeah.
and that's the breath training, everything the guys do at HBC. And
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I've
So
done
you
before.
train for that.
I've done a few training sessions
Yeah.
for that. I don't specifically train for that because I'm not much of a big wave surfer.
Yeah.
But the guys that always surf big waves, they can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes. Where me, I can hold my breath a bit over a minute if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
That's probably like average Joe Blow might be able to beat me.
Yeah.
But
And how long do you stay under the water for when you're getting like washed around down there?
most of the time, mate, probably only like 10 seconds.
10 seconds, but it feels like a lot longer.
It feels like a lot longer because it is violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're starved
You're not in
for
control.
oxygen.
Yeah,
You're not in
exactly.
control.
And you're like, your body's sort of panicking, it's
Stressing.
using up all the
Yeah.
oxygen super quickly.
And so you sort of
Yeah.
learn to actually just sort of relax and just go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as soon as you're panicking and trying to get to the surface, you're burning more oxygen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not going to let you up.
Yeah.
You just got to wait sometimes, and it's rough, but
Yeah, yeah.
So on that day, you knew you were going big wave surfing. Like it wasn't just an opportunistic. Oh, there's a big wave today. Let's do it. Or
No, I was there, so there was an event on.
oh right.
And this is just when I was a junior, that one in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So I was only 17 at the time.
Hmm.
And I was just, it was big and everyone was going out. It's sort of, you're with all the other guys and you got to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're not going to be the guy that's sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
You got to go. The same thing happens when we travel to Tahiti and all those kind of places. It's like, you can't be the guy sitting the widest. I
That's it,
mean,
you just
it's all
egg
just,
each
we're all
other
just
on.
competitive
Yeah.
juniors.
Yeah.
They're sitting there, big egos.
That's how you get the best out of you.
And it is. And that's what makes you better and better.
Yeah.
I mean,
That healthy competition.
it takes its toll sometimes.
For sure. You survived.
I survived.
That's good.
Still got all your limbs.
Yeah, somewhat.
Most of
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I want to know. And yeah, I've come and watched you at a surf comp before in Noosa. It was the Noosa
Festival,
of
yeah.
surfing a couple of years ago. Great event. And like I was actually so surprised at how much goes into these surfing events. I went to another one with you as well down in Victoria last year. It was the Ripco
Bells Beach, yeah.
Yeah. These events, so many people rock up, and like the what goes into setting up all the tents and stuff on the beach and all the gazebos and all the restaurants and all the things. It's a big affair.
Yeah.
Like it's not a small task setting up all this logistics.
And the
somebody's
remote
got to do that all around the world.
cameras and commentators.
Yeah,
and
yeah. But the vibe's so
the satellites.
good. Like
Yeah.
the vibe is correct.
It's friendly.
Yeah.
It's really
great.
friendly.
Yeah, it's like something I've never experienced before doing that.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask is like, how does the scoring work in surfing? Because like I know there's probably a lot of people like myself who I'll watch a surfing event, but I'll have no idea what's going on.
How they score.
Is it scored all the same, or is there different types of events with different scoring? Or
So there's sort of a base criteria,
yeah,
which is, doing the most critical maneuver in the most critical section of the wave with speed, power, and flow. And that's sort of the base which everything goes off. But at different locations, there's sort of different things that the judge is going to be looking for. Each wave, when you're out there, gets scored from 0 to 10, 10 being perfect, 0 being you'd take off and
okay,
face plant straight away, sort of thing,
yeah,
which happens a lot. But, some places say, Tahiti, for example, I was talking about that it's all about getting barreled. Because, the waves there, they're just breaking over knee-deep coral reef, and they're 10-foot waves, and
so
you
if
don't have
come
much
off-
choice to do anything else. So
Yeah.
you might as well sit there, get the
Yeah,
deepest
yeah.
barrel you can, and
Yeah.
then get as far to the channel as you can, as quick as you can.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's what that's about. Say you're competing over in or Noosa. I'm competing in Noosa. It's all very traditional longboarding. It's all about hanging 10 and
Yeah,
surfing your single fin longboard.
yeah. So
Um,
you get a time, right, to surf.
Yep.
How long is the time normally?
Generally, most of the time 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
In the World Surfing League stuff, it steps up to 30 minutes a lot of the time as well.
Okay, so then do you have a judge who's specifically watching you, so they watch every wave that you do in that 20-minute period and score you?
There's 5 judges.
Yeah.
And those 5 judges, they watch every single surfer.
Okay.
And each wave, they score each wave individually.
Yeah.
And then their scores get averaged out. The
Okay.
top score and the bottom score get cancelled off and the rest of them get averaged.
Okay.
And that's how they give the scores, and that's the scores they read out.
So then they don't take your top 5 waves or whatever. They take all of your waves from that 20-minute period.
They score all of your waves,
Yeah.
but you're only judged on your top 2.
Only your top 2.
So they
Okay.
do score all your waves, but
Yeah.
it's your top 2 that
That
count.
Your 2
Mhm.
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many waves would you generally be catching in that 20-minute period?
I always try to stay pretty busy.
Yeah.
But it depends where you are, but I'd always catch probably 6 to 8.
6 to 8 in that 20-minute period.
Are you
Yeah.
paddling back out, or do you get a jet ski? at
I'm
that
paddling
time?
back out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's why staying fit's
Just got to be fit. Yeah.
yeah, especially
Hell
at places like Noosa.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when Noosa's when Noosa's small, there's only going to be 2 or 3 good waves to come through. So it's actually about using your tactics just to be on those 2 or 3 waves.
Yeah. 'Cause how many people are out there at the same time you're competing with to get on that
Oh,
wave?
in Noosa, sometimes 6.
6.
All the
Seems
World
like a
Surf League stuff, there'll be 3
Yeah.
at most.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's
Yeah.
man on man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, competing at Noosa can be super tough.
Yeah. Does
Yeah.
it ever get aggressive? I'm sure it does. Like
For sure.
when I think of surfers, local surfers, I always think of like the aggressive guys
Yeah.
sitting out in the surf who don't want you to drop in on them kind of thing.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it like that in competition?
And
as
that's
well?
why I stay away from my break now. It can be. Not so much on the World Longboarding Tour.
Yeah.
I never experienced any aggression in there because there's priority boards and all that kind of stuff to make sure it sort of goes, the
Smoothly.
first person out the back, they have priority, they take whichever wave they want.
Okay.
And so you don't have to, it's not a battle for every single wave. But when I was doing the qualifying series when I was shortboarding as well, heaps of aggression. I was having guys team up and, they'd be from a different country, so they're not speaking English. And I don't speak their languages. I'm not that worldly. And they would communicate and pretty much stop me from catching waves so they could
Yeah.
catch waves.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Dirty tactics.
Or they'd
Yeah.
throw boards in front. I'd
What?
come in from heats with split shins because
Oh,
guys have thrown their surfboards in front of me as I'm surfing down the wave, and
It's crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
I've been punched paddling into waves by guys paddling
these
next
are on
to me,
competitions.
hitting me. This is in competition.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's pretty rare at the top end.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's sometimes a few dirty tactics that get played in with priority.
Yeah. Because when you're playing at the top end anyway, you're being watched the entire time. You got sponsors. You can't afford to do stupid things like that and get caught out.
No, and generally the guys are there. If you make it to the top end, you're making it there because of talent.
Talent.
Yeah.
Where in those middle areas, guys can be successful just by bullying their way through it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you can stop a guy that's a better surfer than you catching waves, you're going to beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple as that, and that's how they play the game.
Yeah. Okay.
But the people that are doing that, they're also coming from some pretty tough countries, and this is their ticket.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So they're going to do anything they can to get.
It's a good point.
100%.
To get to.
Yeah.
100%. So I don't take anything like that personally.
No. As,
We're out
as
there
you wouldn't.
competing.
Yeah.
We're out there to win.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to hit them back or anything.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Like I'm not an aggressive guy, but I'll play my tactics too.
Yeah.
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 And that's just the way competition is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very true.
stronger man wins a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Survival of the fittest.
100%, mate.
Yeah.
100%. Being an athlete is probably, I reckon, 30% talent, and the rest of it's all head game.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's at the very top end.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys at the very top end, the top 32, probably half of them can all have the talent to be the world champion. The rest of the talent's between the ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially when it's a sport where like it's just you, the board, and the wave.
Yep.
It's not
And
a
Mother
team
Nature,
sport.
mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do with that? Do you try to master that with other sort of experiences in life, and then you bring that to the surf?
Mate, you can't take... Every experience in life is going to reflect in how you surf and compete,
Yeah.
because it is all about just mental strength a lot of the time, because you're sitting there and you're predicting what Mother Nature's going to do,
Yeah.
and predicting that a wave's going to come through and it's going to be a good one to give you the score that you need to beat this other guy, and you're predicting that it's not going to do that for him.
So there's a lot of calculations
Yeah.
happening.
And so anything in your head, if you have doubts, if you have stuff going on at home, any negativity, it builds up and it just exaggerates throughout that time.
Yeah.
And
You're
so,
gonna hesitate.
and yeah, you might. you get 6 opportunities. I'd say, you know, I'd normally catch 6 to 8 waves. That's 6 to 8 opportunities for me to surf my absolute best. Yeah.
So is there many mind games that go on in these comps? I'd be doing the Schwarzenegger bloody...
Some guys are known for it.
Yeah.
Like, some guys are kings at it. Say Kelly Slater is 12-time world champion. He's the man of the mind game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stuff I've heard about him, you know, it's hectic.
Yeah.
It's hectic. But I never dealt with mind games too much on the longboarding tour. You play it a bit when it's your local event. You have some tactics up your sleeve of, you know how to play the bank, you know how to play the people in your heat.
Yep.
And yeah, there's guys on tour, I just know how to compete against them. I know how to beat them because I can get them to beat themselves.
Yeah.
And that's going out and messing with what I know their plan is.
Yeah.
Because they don't change their plan, they have a set plan. And I know I can go, and if I intervene that plan, they're just going to crumble.
It'll throw them off, and they can't deal with it. Yeah.
I had no idea there was so much like tactics and mind games and mental resilient requirements for it. It just sort of seemed like you just become a good surfer and that's how you do it.
Yeah,
But
that was my mentality coming into this.
There's so much more to it.
No,
Yeah.
To be right at the top end and stay there, there's depth to it.
Yeah.
What's the popularity like around the world? Is it growing more and more?
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Asia right now. Say, Taiwan, for example, a place I travelled to for the first time 8 years ago. Since then, they've held the World Longboarding Championships, I think, 4 times.
That's great.
Past 4 years. And then before then, it was just smaller events. It's just grown and grown and grown to this, like, what's now the Taiwan Open of surfing.
Yeah.
And the surfing culture there, the first time I went there, they were very beginner. Loved it, but there wasn't many of them.
Yeah.
You know? And I got to travel. I was lucky enough. I got to travel up the east coast of Taiwan, which is a pretty beautiful place to travel. It's sort of, not what you'd expect. And there's a lot of great waves there, and I just got to surf them with no one out. Nowadays, you can't do that.
Packed.
It's packed.
Yeah.
They all love it. You go to the events there, and there's people just lined up.
Really?
Ages, yeah. Heaps of photographers with bigger cameras. They put the guys here in Aussie to shame, that's for sure.
That's crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, and just the vibe at the events over there, they live for it. They love it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in my head, there's a bit of a cliche, like, if you're Aussie, you're just like a surfer dude kind of thing. Like, that's probably what international, like, athletes, when they come here, they're just like, you're just the typical Aussie surfer. So when you go overseas to, like, all these Asian countries and, like, everywhere else where it's all kind of new, do they definitely, like, put that stigma on you of, like, oh, he's, like, the cool Aussie surfer guy? Like, do they all treat you that way, or is it...
Oh, us Aussie surfer guys are pretty cool, mate. Yeah, I think we know how to play the card pretty well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think, we play up to that a bit.
I think that's
Yeah.
a mind game in itself, isn't
It
it?
is,
Yeah.
and being an Aussie, us Aussies sort of always stick together.
Yeah.
Like, the countries generally do. Aussies get on with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's true.
It's funny, the accent cuts through a crowd. Like, you don't notice it when you're in Australia, obviously, but when you're overseas, you hear an Aussie accent, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's one. Go
But,
say g'day.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're lucky enough that people generally love Aussies.
Yeah.
And Aussie surfers as well, travelling together. There's a lot of larrikins from Australia. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm a larrikin, but, we get up to a bit of mischief.
Yeah. It'd be a
Whatever.
good time.
It's sort of,
Lads
being the
on
fun,
tour.
being the fun, cool Aussie surfers. It's sort of,
Yeah.
we do play that card a bit.
Yeah.
It's got its perks.
Yeah.
It definitely does, yeah.
So then, you've retired from the tour.
Yeah.
Are you still going to do, like, any leisure trips overseas to go surfing, or are you just going to explore more of our country?
In time, I'll definitely do leisure trips, go surfing, and go on a boat somewhere over in the Maldives or something like that. And, for just a surfing trip. But in the future, my travels, I just want to go and not have to drag a surfboard around with me. Just go wherever I want to go, experience the world. Definitely experience Australia is my next thing. I don't get much of a choice at the moment anyway with coronavirus.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But even before coronavirus, I want to do up north and go Darwin to do through the Kimberleys and
Go surf with the Crocs.
I'm not surfing with the crocodiles, mate. I've got mates that have done that, and they can have it. I'm not doing that.
I'd rather.
I'd take a shark.
I'd rather surf with sharks than Crocs.
I'd definitely take a shark over a croc.
I think so.
Yeah. No. But now I've retired. I'm sort of in a new chapter. You know, I've got my own work, which has been pretty tough through coronavirus stuff, but you know, I'll battle on. I think it's been a good time for me to retire. You know, I'm still getting good results, but I'm ready to step into something
Just
different.
enjoy it.
Well, you did it for
Take
a
it
lot
as a
of years
hobby.
there.
Yeah, I was on the tour for 8 years.
Wow.
Which
That's a long time.
It's a good stint.
Yeah, from when I was like 17. So it was a pretty good stint. And
absolutely.
I just need to move on.
Yeah. You're spending a lot of time in the motorsport scene now, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I
Very
mean,
exciting.
I grew up on the beach and on the side of a racetrack.
That's
So-
an interesting childhood.
It's
very diverse.
I'm
introduction to sports.
I'd definitely say I'm just very lucky to be able to work in stuff that I'm passionate about. And that is, it's pure, that's privilege. To be able to do that kind of stuff. And
100%. For sure.
yeah, my younger brother at the moment, he is a professional race car driver. So I've been
Harry's
trying to get.
killing it.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
So I always try to get to the tracks and to watch him and support him. And
It's a good atmosphere.
got a few things hopefully turning up in the future that will get me working at the track a bit more as well.
It's an exciting space, and you know, I've only had exposure to it through your family and being with like Harry and going to track days with him and also showing him a bit of support. Is the motorsport scene in Australia, has it got a lot to grow still, do you think, to being
I think just
like
any
'cause
sort of
obviously Europe
sporting
has
scene.
a huge car scene, like London especially has a huge car scene.
Yeah.
So like, is Australia like, are we going in that direction, or is it like quite big already, or like, what do you reckon?
It's definitely got a big motorsport scene. We've sort of got our own little things going on down here compared to the rest of the world because we're so far away. It's kind of our own market.
Would you say it's a bit of a bogan scene, though?
Yeah, but what isn't in Australia, mate? Like, we are who we
Compared,
are.
like when you compare it to, exactly. We are who we are. Because you go to the Europe motor scene and it's
high end,
It's a bit
niche,
posh.
like posh,
and here it's Motorhead.
Redheads.
Rev it up.
Get the
Yes and
V8
no.
12.
Get it
I
going.
think it depends.
Yes
on
and
the
no.
event you go
It
to.
depends. Exactly.
Like, we were at the Formula One the last couple of years. I didn't think it was bogan at all.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
but
And,
how many people at that Formula One
About
are
Aussie.
race car supporters versus
Oh.
we're in Melbourne and there's a Formula One. Let's
Yeah,
check
they're
it
there
out.
for
Take
the
a crate
scene.
of beers.
It's there for the
But
our
I've
red
definitely
head on.
noticed
Get the
through
Instagram photo.
traveling to Harry's events, it's pretty, mate. To be able to go and actually race at the events, you have to be doing pretty well for yourself.
I was going
for
to
a
say
lot
it's
of time. Like,
expensive.
Yeah.
the guys that aren't pro,
I'm talking
paying their way.
the fans
The
more than the
spectators?
more than
the
the athlete. Like
I
the
think
athletes definitely.
that depends on which division they're
definitely
watching
not.
as well.
Yeah.
You know, the Porsche guys that I've been to, the fans that come to watch the Porsches, it's generally, mate, you're a Porsche enthusiast, and or you're watching that kind of racing because they're in the one sort of they're all in the same car. And it comes down to pure talent.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes a little bit to the GT3 stuff, where say they're doing the Bathurst 12-hour endurance racing. That's again quite up there. You know, they're racing the McLarens, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and so that brings in that kind of a crowd. But you know, the racing for the supercars, it's broad, mate. It's got it all.
Yeah.
And I think I've been getting this new appreciation for the supercar guys because of how raw their racing is. They're banging doors. They're properly sending. They're nuts. And just the touring car stuff, it's pretty crazy compared to the, say, open wheelers of the Formula Ones, where if they touch, they're going to blow tyres and crash. Where the supercar guys or even the Porsche guys, Harry will come in with, you know, wheel marks down the side of his car, or he's got cracks in his front bumper bar from running up the back of people.
Yeah.
You know, he'll do that down the straight just so they get flustered coming into the corner knowing that he's right there.
I think
These
like
these guys
competitiveness,
are
yeah.
nuts.
to your question, I think it's just got so much more potential.
Mm.
Like people just don't realise how awesome and diverse the
Yeah.
sport is,
And
the
it
popularity
is.
is just going to grow
Yeah.
as people get
Yeah.
educated on it.
Yeah.
I did. You've also got another older brother, Matt.
Yep.
I've done the Targa with him down in High Country in Victoria, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of older gents doing it,
Yeah.
obviously because they're the ones that can afford the cars mostly to do that stuff. And to enter into this race over 3 days, they've got to close down whole towns for
Yeah.
you to race through. Like, it's an expensive gig.
I think that's one of the limiting factors that people don't get that exposure. And then when you look
Yeah.
at simulators they're rolling out now, and people will be able to get more of that exposure, I think that's where you'll see the popularity grow.
You've seen that grow
Yeah.
through
Appreciate
COVID
it.
as well.
Well,
A lot
100%.
of
Yeah, the
people
sim
have been-
racing. Harry's been doing the sim racing as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the simulator, and it's been a fundamental part of his training for
Yeah.
a long time. So yeah, through this COVID stuff, sim racing's been huge.
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah.
And there's been full series that they're doing. It's the Porsche guys put on a full e-racing series on everyone's simulators.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah, the sim stuff, it's such a great way to, you can race at home,
Yeah.
and you're not forking out hundreds of thousands of dollars to race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
you know,
right.
for a really good simulator, it can still cost up to 20 grand or
Yeah,
more.
that's
I've
still
heard
jeez.
some getting pretty ridiculous.
But that's a set of
But,
tires, isn't it?
yeah, it depends what on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get some for just reasonable price and race guys all around the world. You know, Harry, when he's training, he's racing against some of the Formula One guys, even like
Yeah, that's
Lando
awesome.
Norris and these guys.
Yeah.
And your average Joe Blows like you and me on those things, you can build up talent.
Yeah, you can be quite
can get good.
competitive,
I
yeah.
think like it's pretty interesting, like you're surfing, how you would film yourself and then overlay that
Yep.
with a pro surfer. In terms of car racing now with these simulations, you could do the same thing.
That's 100% what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
with
do that
that
with
kind of
people
stuff,
way
they do
better.
it, and they have the data, and it's exactly the same data they pull out of their race car.
Yeah.
Exactly the same system. So they watch
It's
and
incredible.
can see and actually set up their cars and get their
Yeah.
cars ready. Their real life cars from driving on simulators.
Like your brake pressure, your acceleration. I don't know much about the whole
Suspension.
racing side, but
Yeah.
your suspension.
So many
Yep.
different
Yeah.
adjustments.
Angles into your corners. And
Yeah,
speed
exactly.
Out.
Set markers and
Yeah.
get ready to go. And it helps a lot. Yeah.
Crazy.
But if you wanted, so you wanted to get into motorsport, like not through a sim, but you wanted to go buy a car and stuff. What's entry level in Australia? What sort of series are you competing in? What sort of car are you getting?
There's a few great series, some really great series,
Yeah.
and there's some, I know a little bit about it because I'm looking at doing it right now.
Yeah.
There's, if you're wanting to go real cheap and just get into it and just pure race, there's the XL series, which is Hyundai XLs.
XLs, yeah.
Super cheap, but you chuck a roll cage in it. Is a great, you'll be racing against 30 cars. And
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
properly sending and
Yeah.
pushing one another.
Yeah.
There's the Aussie Race Car Series, which is, wouldn't know how to explain them. They're kind of a car but shrunk down. But again, they have a great pack, and they race as a support category for the V8. So they're racing at all the big tracks around Australia. But they're obviously a tenth the price
Yeah.
of, say, the Porsches or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, if you do have a bit of money to drop into it and you want to go properly, there's Formula Ford, which is probably the other great one, but there's Formula 3, there's the Porsche series, there's the Porsche ladder is brilliant because there's the Sprint Cup, but within the Sprint Cup there's the different categories of Class B, Pro-Ams, and the Pros,
Yeah.
and then stepping up into Carrera Cup.
So there's
which is
plenty
sort
of
the next
different
level.
avenues then you can go to if you wanted to get into the sport.
There is,
So
there
many
is.
different areas to get
Yeah.
into.
And even, there's Toyota 86 series,
Yeah.
there's
okay.
GT1 series.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sort of got to pick a path,
Pick a path that you
pick
like.
a budget,
Yeah.
pick a path,
Yeah.
send it.
Now, motorsport
Hell yeah.
is also notorious for, as an outsider who's just had exposure again through you guys, quite dangerous, in a way.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about because I've been in a race car with Harry, pumping around a track, and it's quick. It's like scary quick if you're the passenger, obviously.
Yeah.
And I've heard horror stories, like even through that Harry's told me about his coach in Abu Dhabi when his
Losing brakes,
failed and he
yeah.
just went straight into a wall and broke like every flipping bone in his body.
Yeah.
And then I've been at the racetrack for a BMW Open Day where some dude rolled his car and had to get resuscitated.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just when I've I've heard all these stories and seen a few of those things and gone, wow, that's motorsport is nothing to treat without real respect. If you do it.
Obviously, if you're strapped in over a ton of steel going at those speeds,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that risk.
Yeah.
But I think statistically, it's pretty well managed these days compared to back in the day.
Like our cars, obviously the cars that you guys are racing are extremely safe or built to be
Yep,
anyway.
they're built to be crashed.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, and they're built to be a little cocoon for the driver.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important, and it's always important to actually spend the money to get the proper stuff.
True.
And because at the end of the day, if you crash, you can repair a car, you can't, repair yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's still much safer to be racing on a track than say racing on the street. The cars with the roll cages, the 5-point harness, all the safety features they have been implemented over the years. Say that track day that you went to, the BMW thing, the car rolled. I was there that day as well. The guy didn't have a roll cage in his car.
No, it was literally just a Sunday car. He took
And that's sort of something that if you are, viewers are wanting to get into racing, sometimes it's not good to take your road car to a track because it's not made for it.
Yeah, hasn't been checked over properly.
Yeah, you don't have the race mechanics and guys setting your car up.
That's a good point.
Again, your car is also not built for it. You're probably going to do more damage than good.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you'll have to get towed back home. And if something does go wrong, your lap sash and airbags don't do much. Yeah. And that's just something you got to take into it. I've never, I don't drive the race cars and fly through corners thinking, gee, this feels safe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not sitting there terrified of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Once you're in, I get pretty nervous when I'm getting in the car and I'm about to head out. But once I'm out there, mate,
it just feels natural.
You're in the zone.
Yeah. Have you
once the car does what you're asking it to do, you get synced into it. You're like,
I've lost brakes. I was fortunate enough I lost brakes in a place where I was sort of able to regain.
Yeah. That would have been scary.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty lucky. I only I've started pushing recently.
Yeah.
But
Do you think you'll have that one moment where you just push it too far? But do you like in motorsport, like any sport? Like I used to race downhill mountain bikes when I was younger, and I used to compete. You don't really know where your limit is until you push yourself to get there.
Exactly.
And a lot of the time on a bike, you're coming off when you're pushing yourself to that limit to learn where your limit is.
if you're not falling, you're not going hard.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pushing your comfort
But
zone.
in a race car, it's like there's so much on the line, not just one for your safety, but two, the cost of the car sometimes.
Well, how does that work?
Talking hundreds of thousands of dollars
do you
worth
find
of
those
cars
limits
smacking around a racetrack?
in the controlled environments? Like you take it to the test on this turn because if you spin out, you've got room to slide.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's where you learn the limits.
And like racetracks, they're made for cars to come off.
Yeah.
They have the gravel traps and everything to lock your car so you're not bashing into walls. There's tracks like Bathurst and stuff where if you make a mistake, you're going to do damage.
Yeah.
But that's where,
Adds
that's
to
where it's
the-
for the pro guys.
Adds to the competition.
Yeah. I mean, they're tracks that, I'd love to drive one day, but you build up to it. You build up to it and you just ease into it. You make sure your ego and your talent stay the correct way around. Never think that you're the best guy. Just do what you need to do and be safe.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
for those
Good
the pro
message to put out to people.
the pro guys, they need to push it.
Yeah.
And they can feel the car. They've got so much talent in what they can feel through the wheel, through the seat. They can feel the tyres are starting to degrade, and so they can't come into that corner quite as much, or they start to lose it, but they'll catch it, so they might lose time on the lap. But they didn't just crash the car.
Yeah, it's amazing how dialed into the car they are.
Yeah.
Like,
In saying that,
I
they
had
also
no
do crash a
idea.
lot. So when you're watching race events, you're generally going to see a crash.
That is true.
That's what a lot of viewers want too.
Yeah,
it's a
100%.
big
100%.
aspect of views.
Definitely. I mean, you're
First
watching these
corner.
guys. Yeah, first corners are notorious for it, especially in the e-racing at the moment. But you got these guys that are pinning it to just come first.
Yeah.
And someone's going to make a mistake.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Nick, I think we better leave it there. I think we're probably running the audience into about over an hour probably now.
It's been a good discussion.
It has been.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on our show, man.
Nah, thanks for having me on.
We appreciate the insight into the surfing background and even the motorsport background. It's been a
Pretty awesome world by the
been
sound of it.
enlightening, it sounds like
Had a
lot of
great
fun.
experience.
Oh, mate, yeah.
All the,
Stay
all the better
updated.
for
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You
But
have to come along.
all the best for the future, mate, and whatever you decide to do, everyone's got your back, and
Cheers,
we want
boys.
to support you
Yeah.
to achieve that.
For sure.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for having me
having
on.
Thanks for being here.
Cheers.
Cheers.